Let's adjust the camera. Shall we touch it? No, you don't go so far. Ba-da-ba-bum, ba-da-ba-bum, ba-da-ba-bum. Ba-da-ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. Kiwa's come. Kiwa, hello. Something translated, I think. Hello, Kiwa. Nice to see you again. I'm so excited. Thank you. How have you been? It feels like it's been a century since last had a stream, and it feels very awkward a little bit to just start a new cycle, so to speak. At the same time, I came with such a lightness. Yeah, background is different. My whiteboard is occupied. I have some exciting stuff on it right now. And maybe I will take a picture or transfer it elsewhere. And then we'll have whiteboard again. Today we just have a wall and a lot of imagination. So today we're going to go with choreography alone. You don't know how you've been. What first thing comes to your mind? Sounds good. Thanks. I'm doing, you see, a little bit of cultural appropriation. Brazil. Maybe some people who love to do some nationality forensics will be more confused this time by some blatant signs. So yeah, I've come with such a light energy. It's so amazing. I super love it. Nothing is coming to my mind at the moment. Absolutely nothing. Kiva, good time to do a stream. Today I am really anticipating some stories, maybe some debates in the comments, because the topic is we're technically continuing. Gentle Seeker, hello. It's been a while, but we're back to our streaming sessions. So the topic today continues the one that we left off. And it was relationship crisis. Relationship crisis being, yes, Kiva. Relationship crisis being zeroth crisis in relationships is that, oh my god, I don't have relationships, to go through the cycle of things that are identified by some pop psychology, I guess, a relationship crisis that happen in the relationships as they are viewed by the society. So relationships in some normal societal context where people adhere to certain gender roles, certain expectations, building a family, whatever it means to them. So we've covered 10 years worth of crisis in the previous live stream. And then the last topic, Luigi Diaz, so I didn't even think about cheating on you, princess. Nice. Do you listen to a lot of music? Yes, I do. Good Surfer, hello. Mystic Me, hello. So, we went through 10 years of crisis that are identified by pop psychology, and the last thing that we've covered was not so time dependent crisis. We started discussing acute crisis that can happen at any stage of relationships, and the last thing that was mentioned was situations of physical abuse, violence, and stuff. Yeah, Kiva, it's important to go back to just bring back context. So, thank you, Gentle Seeker, so much. So, the events of violence, psychological, physical abuse, we discussed the plan of action there, and that's where we left off. I also recall that we had some blips with the internet, I think, and or something, some connection situation. So we ended up discussing something else in the end. But we'll see. So today, one of the other acute crises, one of the other acute crises is infidelity. And that's something that haunts a lot of people. There is so much content about, look, this woman, thank you for tulips, Kiushka. This woman, basically the goddess of beauty, successful, gorgeous woman got cheated on. Thank you. Or it would be, also this absolute glorious woman got cheated on with this gray rat. What is this about? Somehow, this field is heavily dominated by women discussing how women don't have security in relationships, or they don't have any protection from the act of infidelity from the men's side. Yet, if you go to manosphere, where guys get together to power themselves up on the topic why they don't need a woman by their side, or how you need to be this abusive figure to avoid a woman going too off-hand, going nuts. That's especially prominent phenomenon in Russia. Uh, they talk about that if you don't behave like this, if you don't establish this crazy power dynamics with a woman, she will inevitably cheat as well. Then there is also an interesting genre, interesting phenomenon. I also miss whiteboard, guys, so much. It would be so nice to write all this on the whiteboard right now, but we are exercising our brain, keeping everything in mind. Another part of the genre there is different subcategories of men, classification of beta, alpha, sigma, Greek letters. When men put themselves into some Greek letter categories, and there is also a distinction of who gets the woman, who the woman will cheat, and so on. This is some, I guess, very commonplace rhetoric that we can find online in the pop media regarding infidelity. When we think about some private stories, some deeper events that are untied from the pop narrative, we will likely find some stories of women who devote themselves to relationships. Remember our notion of bloody bucket of sacrifices that we make for relationships. It's this heroic act of glorified sacrifice. And then she's exhausted, she's drained by these relationships. It feels like it was a marathon, a super strenuous, exhausting marathon for 20 years. 20 years of devotion, 20 years of trusting, investing hard, long-term investment. And then all of these hopes were broken. He grew with you, and he started going with other girls. He started looking at energetic, bright women who did not spend 20 years with him, enduring this family sacrifice, this burden of family life. They did not make this devotion. They did not have this bloody bucket where you were investing your vitality and youth into. She is, ha ha ha, very bright and light, and he is going there because he feels so good there. Abandoning the fortress, abandoning this nest of stability that was built with so much labor. Thank you, Gentle Seeker. Do you think it's a cope when people say other primate species aren't monogamous? What's cope? Cope with what? People, species are not monogamous. It contradicts evolution. So if we start referring to nature as the guide for how we should drive our life, specifically looking at other species, it's a fallacy, I think. Because human brain, human curiosity, human psyche, human mind are part of nature. So we can make our own decisions and we can design our life in accordance to what makes sense. So cope, not cope. Um, I can subscribe to Madam's channel if you haven't, lovely people. Thank you, Kiushka. So, uh, today I would like to discuss the perhaps not so apparent reasons for infidelity and how to, we have in Tantra, remember we had a video on manifest anything. Manifest anything is a pretty, sounds like a Delulu thing, but there we actually went quite analytical and quite pragmatically discussed how achievement of goals works. And one of the notions there that has so many parallels in many topics that we've discussed so far is that when you are at the right state to achieve the goal, it doesn't feel like a goal. When you are in full alignment, the concept of goal, the concept of a mission, the concept of achievement, strain, the concept of sacrifice, the concept of hardship, they disappear. There is no excessive potential on these concepts. But this is the right moment when things come to fruition. The same way we cannot predict, we cannot guarantee 100% that infidelity won't happen to you. It's impossible. This is up to will of another person. Unless you take full control and possession over their mind, which is impossible, or unless you take full control and possession over their physical body, which is also impossible in the normal world, you're not going to control their behavior. They can have anything possible. A person can go to a restaurant and suddenly someone puts something into their drink or something, and they start doing things that they would never do in a normal state of mind. Even if they never wanted to perform acts of infidelity, you never know. It's the same with animals as well. I love when people let huge dogs off leash in public areas. And say that, especially like aggressive breeds. Wow, when it happens, and they say the dog never hurt anyone. The dog never threatened anyone. Not a human, not a dog. But you can never know. It's an animal. An animal cannot communicate their intentions. It's a very high level of trust to put into some creature that doesn't have not only critical thinking, but also cannot clearly communicate their intention to you. Or communicate certain symptoms that may be accompanying some organic process happening in their mind, their head. The dog could be absolutely wonderful, peaceful, calm. But at some point, they may develop some neurological thing that you will not be able to diagnose because it happens and they cannot communicate their symptoms. And then the most supreme dog can do something that you never expected it would do. And with humans, sometimes if you notice, humans are not so far ahead of animals in their behavior. So humans are still animalistic. Humans are still driven by lots and lots and lots of automations. Humans are driven by lots and lots and lots of physiology that overrides cognitive action, that overrides the analytical self. As in why people get furious when they read the news. Watch people. Hannah Lucy, hi. Watch people, how they discuss the news. Suddenly, from very good surfer like cats, wonderful. Suddenly, from respectable gentlemen or gentlewomen, they turn into absolute vicious beasts who see absolute enemies in each other on the basis of information that somebody wrote for them to strike a certain emotion, and now they're not controlling themselves. They're saying things or they're behaving, they're producing chemistry that makes them absolutely off hands. They go totally unleashed and they don't understand why. They cannot reflect on their behavior, understand what's happening, and act differently. They're overridden by those weird impulses. So that's one example. But how much of human behavior is based on trauma? How much of human behavior is based on this narrow tunnel that we work on in Tantra? This narrow tunnel in which a human feels like they're being squeezed, threatened by the environment, that they're sitting in this narrow tunnel of very few options. They cannot act, they cannot improve their situation. They feel helpless, hopeless. They are under constant stress. They don't know who they are at this point. They see the world in a very distorted way, and they act according to the best possible solution that they see from within this tiny tunnel. They cannot look at the full picture of their life. They cannot broaden the domain of their perception because their psyche is conditioned to sit in this narrow tunnel. And there's a huge, powerful feedback loop that keeps them in this tunnel. So, this is how a lot of people live. A lot of adults live this way. How can you expect them to act in accordance to some big strategic vision? In accordance to some authentic sense of how it should be? How can you envision them acting in accordance to feeling leadership over their life when the last leadership they felt was centuries ago? The person oftentimes may behave out of years of trying to combat trauma. They are not acting out of their authenticity. And they will go, they know that there's a huge split inside of their mind. They know that there is wife and kids and responsibility, work, career, in-laws, parents. They cannot feel leadership acting upon that system, improving it, seeing it, living in it, or claiming, realizing that there's some disharmony in it, and either exiting the system or striking a dialogue. They live with a split. They feel like there's a huge domain of life that just presses upon them, that makes them helpless, sitting in this narrow tunnel. The only way they can feel anything at this point is to exit somewhere and then add more shame, more guilt, more pressure onto themselves as a result. This is the cost of big decisions that are made from within this narrow tunnel. This is the cost, this burden, the shrinking walls, and eventual actual breakdown of a lot of the life domains and this narrow tunnel together with it when we are enduring life in this narrow tunnel, when we live not authentically for years and years and years on end. So I'm passionate about what I do, because from the path of authenticity, there is no such thing as infidelity in relationships. There is no such thing as trying to hide. There is no such thing as trying to squeeze out somewhere. There's no such thing. When you live authentically, you're open with the world. Your world is expansive. Your voice comes lightly, naturally. Your truth comes out very naturally and lightly and easily. And your actions, little by little, change your environment. And there are surely ways you can approach things differently and not as trying to escape, get a glimpse, like just a gulp of fresh air somewhere from someone. Basically, what is infidelity? It's invitation of a person for a function, to suit a function, to give you the breath of fresh air, to do something. It's their instrumental role. You want to suck something up of there. Because the system that you're living in is so broken down. There's no resource that you can receive, that you can cultivate. You are going to grab something from that donor, some third person, to keep going with this inauthentic system. That's the tragedy. Let's see the chat. Hippocrates? No. I miss you. How often do life still live? Hannah, I actually took a break. I took a break because I'm working something exciting. So to me, it was some reset to go to embark on a new project. Also reset the schedule a little bit because even though I got accustomed to streaming late at night, I just couldn't endure going to sleep later and later each morning at that point. So I was going to sleep at sunrise several days. And I just can't. I need to be aligned with nature. So when I go to sleep, when the sun is rising, to me it just feels very wrong. When I rely on blackout curtains, it's not me. It's not authentic myself. So I started working on my schedule and an exciting project. So that's why I shifted my hours, and now we're going to work on some other schedule. Yeah, some classmates arrive later on. Yeah, plus we also started much earlier. Well, thank you, Hannah. And can I ask you, how do we make peace with what we can't change, like loss? That's a great question. Let's write it down. Today we're without whiteboard, but we're with paper. So, how to make peace with what we can't change. So, Hannah, I'm assuming that it's not just some extraneous question. I'm assuming that you are coming from some personal experience. And what is non-peace for you? If you think about it, what is non-peaceful? What does it do to you? What are the feelings there? What's bothering? What is the unaccomplished thing in your mind that your mind keeps returning to? What is that? I think this will be the first step, finding what needs to be accomplished and also finding what feeling there is will be the first step. And then we can employ different tools for that. Thank you, Hannah. With Madam's choreography, we don't need the whiteboard. She gets the point across very clear. Thank you, Kiwa. Giving up. We get to how exciting. What about your project? Oh, you will see. It's ambitious though. It's a little bit. I needed to sit with it. That's also why I took a break. And for 2 days, I've been feeling much more at ease because I did some exercises myself, and I've been doing a lot of practices to ease myself into this process, because the last huge project that I did was vegan, everything about ex-veganism. It was the massive project that I've done, and somehow that left an imprint of how much work it was. So now, when I foresee a lot of work, and I know the character of work that it's gonna be. I feel the same feelings as I felt when I when I was in the end of ex-vegan study and work, which is a lot of accumulated fatigue. So I already started like feeling, when I embarked on that, I started feeling fatigue for somewhere in the middle of the process. That's why I aborted, which was a half desired thing. I aborted live streaming, and I also did a lot of the hygienic work on my mind, and I also doubled down on my tantric practice to regulate myself better, to not feel burdened, to not feel overwhelmed by any of that. So, but you'll see soon. I don't want to air it out. Paxton Bear, hello. A lot of exciting stuff. Let me turn the AC on. Oops. I told you that a lot of the things in my apartment are leaking. Now AC is leaking. Can you ask what you practiced? Hannah, I practiced full body breathing, and also practiced what we did at the workshop, warm and cold things, and I also did some practices that will be that I will be distributing to people who attend the workshops. And I basically created a practice based on warm and cool practices that is for specific body parts. I was practicing those. And also practiced a lot of the observation, like I noticed when I felt a lot of resistance to embarking on my project, I felt a lot of resistance. So what happens sometimes is, you start kind of procrastinating in a way that you're like, okay, what's on Instagram? What happens on YouTube? Let me see. Like you have your project open, you need to do some work that you don't feel like doing in the moment. And you're like, or you go like, okay, what's sweet in the house? Or I actually want to clean, or it would be a good idea to cook dinner probably right now, such that by the evening time I have dinner. Let me just abort the process and go cook the dinner. I caught myself and I started observing that. I'm like, okay, my brain right now tried picking up the phone. I'm not going to learn anything from the phone. I'm not going to be necessarily amused by whatever Instagram has to offer. Okay, sweets. I don't want to eat sweets. I actually am not hungry. If I listen to myself, I'm not hungry. Cooking. I already have food. I don't need 7-course dinner for tonight. I literally recognize that my brain is just seeking ways to get distracted and get immediate dopamine. When I realized that, I felt such a ease, because I felt like, okay, my brain is just hooked on some habitual sources of gratification. Because I know that, for instance, I go on live stream, it's an achievement, and it's a routine thing. I go to the store, for instance, I buy some bag of fruits, I eat sweet fruits, it's a gratification. I go to the beach, I lay in the sun, I swim in the sea. That's a healthy, pleasant, very nurturing activity. Instant gratification. Let's say not instant, habitual gratification. And when I started changing my routine, it's normal to feel resistance. It's normal to feel resistance, which is represented as my brain trying to go back, telling me, hey, please, I know how to get gratification, just pick up the phone. I did one practice, wonderfully worked. Kiva knows, the one that is diving. Dive, movement, action. I was recording and I was writing a script for it. And I was like, how to design a script for it? Let me test it. So in the process of designing the script, that I had so much resistance to, I started testing it. And it worked. It was a wonderful thing. get it done. Hello. So I actually proved the concept of that practice. And that put me in the flow of recording things and writing things. So, two things there, important things, was to find the observation, to acknowledge that yes, I'm doing something out of the ordinary. And second thing, performing the practice. I literally have a practice on hand that can help me to focus on activity. Perform that one. It worked. So these are the things that I've been practicing. And then, of course, I wrote down at one point, I found that a lot of the things, when you're changing your environment, when you're changing your routine, there is a risk that you will start feeling overwhelmed in your mind. And a lot of the things that you're substituting things that give you habitual gratification, you're substituting those things with things that don't offer immediate gratification, or you don't know how to vibe with them yet. You don't know how to feel like, wow, I did it yet. So brain, what it does, it amps up the self-sabotage, and it starts compiling a list of things inside that create this feeling of burden, amplify the sensation that what you're doing is out of the ordinary, that it's something dangerous, that life is scary. So what I did, I will show you. This is the sheet that I covered with literally every single thought that was bothering me. It was a wonderful tool. Like literally everything. Like up to the thing that I eat too many sweets. And then I had some assignments from my relatives. This is also in my mind. I need to address something for someone. Then some logistics I needed to take care of. Then my phone plan also. My phone plan had some finicky thing at the same time. Then socialization and going places, to me also finding balance with that. Because I have this thing that if I have socialization event, then my whole day is submitted by that because it's a commitment to someone. Then another like some legal thing. Then I was worried about not streaming because I wanted to locate my resources in time because I have time constraint. I can only do certain things without noise outside. I was writing that down. So in total I have 29 things, also 30th, that I just offload of my mind to help my brain survive the situation when conventional or habitual gratification was no longer present. So let's see. Oh, it's very passionate. It's refreshing to see, Kivushka. Yes. We love you. Bless her. Bless you guys. Procrastination is my middle name. Me and procrastination are very familiar with each other a little too much. Yep. That happens. But again, understanding the nature of procrastination helps so much. Because it's normal to procrastinate, in fact. She's here. Get it done. Thank you. Get it done. By the way, hair products, I changed. I bought Divinus hair conditioner that I used back in Moscow. And it's so good. It smells amazing. Noise outside is always a pain. Yes, Kiva, it's insane. And you know, when record practices, sound must be not existent, external sound. And we have swimming pool right here. So it's quite busy. So Hannah, think about how to make peace with what we can change. I want you to think about what is not peace right now. Yes, Kiva. running low on stuff, so you have to replenish. But the brand that I was advertising, Pacifica, I can't find it here. It's an American endemic. So, an exploration. Back to cheating. Back to cheating. So, who cheats? A person who is living unauthentically somewhere. A person who tries to cheat themselves primarily. And cheat themselves not in this, you can interpret it in a very like vulgar way. Like you cheat yourself, you are offending, you are betraying your own choice. But it's a much bigger system. It's a human who tries to sit on two chairs. It's a person who tries to not be responsible. It's a person basically who lives for participation award. And participation award is really gratifying. It always comes with that trying to hide from one system by partially entering the other system will not bring you gratification, growth in either of these systems. A good example would be, when you have two talents, for instance, two skills, and you are treating them as when something doesn't work in one skill set, in one job, for instance, in one field, you can say that, oh, I'm actually not a mechanic 100%. I'm actually a hairdresser, so I'm not going to be responsible for it. And then you go to this hairdresser thing, hiding from your mechanic obligations or mechanic responsibilities. And you start cutting hair, and then one day you create a hole in someone's hair, and you're like, oops, basically, I'm sorry, but I'm actually not a hairdresser, I'm actually a mechanic. And you're hiding from responsibility in this field, and leadership, and mastery, and becoming free. Mastery also is a very free thing. Master is free in his craft, or her craft. And you're just running, you're sitting on two chairs, you're sitting in the middle in this full split. Incredibly energy draining thing. Because you're constantly on the run from one system to the other system. And that's what happens with cheating. Plus also, not taking responsibility or claiming leadership in either system also creates very poor outcomes in each system that destroy self-esteem. Self-esteem goes very low because you never create anything substantial. You never feel freedom. You never feel this free, light breath, pulse of life fully in either of these systems. Because with your side piece, you cannot feel full freedom because it's marked with guilt. In your, let's say, main relationship, you don't feel full freedom because you cannot be authentically yourself there. So in neither system there is happiness. In neither system there is freedom. And these are the criteria of dysfunction in the system. When you're not free, when you're not authentic, when it's soiled with something. How people come to cheating, as I said in the beginning, through years and years of self-sabotage, years and years of unauthentic behaviors, unauthentic choices, inability, fears to speak the truth, masquerading. And not being willing to take responsibility. Okay, so Anna Lucy comes with more questions. Let's write them down. We'll discuss them. Chronic anxiety. Body. becomes body is anxious before. So basically before me. By me you mean the body is anxious before me. Me is observer who can calculate what the situation is, right? Thank you, James Miller. And then we have another question. What's the easiest effective way to gain self-esteem? The easiest and effective way to gain self-esteem is to perform actions and see the results of your actions. This feedback that you can make a creative change in your life, in the environment, in the creative pursuits that you have, in people's lives, when you see how you make change in someone's life, or how you make change to the environment or your own life, your own environment. These things give you boost in self-esteem. When you go for partial or participation award activities, it's not me. Or it's not mine. No. I'm not gonna do this, la la la. Or when you choose activities that are associated with self-sabotage, when you are performing them knowing that you don't have a skill to do it, or that you aren't trained and you think that it should work on the first attempt, for instance, and then you give up, that will be ruining self-esteem in turn. So taking actions, calculated actions, where you can have good, gratifying feedback from the system. This is the easiest, most effective way to build self-esteem. Because often our self-esteem is built on what my mom will say, what will society say, what opinions are being formed, or how I can say go in the mirror and be like, I am the best thing that happened to planet Earth. I am the best thing that happened to planet Earth. I am the best thing that happened to planet Earth. We can recite that 1,000 times. Without actionable continuation, it will mean nothing to our brain. Because most of the work, yes, a lot of it is undoing the beliefs, in fact. Sometimes people say that you need to change your beliefs. Beliefs without knowledge, a knowledge coming from action, are nothing. They're as fragile as any other belief. That's why I'm not a proponent of just building the belief, inflating yourself with beliefs, more beliefs, taking one belief in the other, replacing it with the other belief. No, in Tantra in particular, in Tantric method, why it's cool is because you have a concept, you're changing the concept, you're changing your behavior. They'll come together. You change concept, you change your biochemistry. You're never separated from the material world that speaks in the language of chemical reactions and physical work. Physical work being events, actions. Way to boost self-esteem. I'll just write it for bookkeeping, to boost self-esteem. Thank you, key welcome. Question star, yes. Positive energy. Thank you, ladies, for wonderful sparkling energy in the chat. So, But yeah, all those like opinions, beliefs, they're nothing. They shatter, the moment you sell, for example, you want to be an artist, you sell your first painting, or you earn concept plus behavior, yes. For instance, my parents disapprove of me being an artist. So I will never be an artist, and I should never pursue artistic career. I will be just sitting working as an accountant or whoever, a lawyer. But because my parents, they told me that, la la la, and I should not be an artist. These are the beliefs and concepts, voices in the head. Create a structure that will allow you to be an artist. Have you taken any steps to research how business of art works? What is needed to sell art pieces? What streams of artistic work you can be more interested in, and at the same time, the ones that are very reasonably monetizable. Have you thought about how you would build a structure to make a successful, like financially successful artistic career that would feed you? And when you think so, and when you try taking some steps, you go and read online something. You grab a notebook. You take notes on how to build your art brand, how to build social media presence, or how to build real network where you can promote your artworks. When you research how to prepare paintings for shipping, for instance. When you find vendors that sell frames where you can individualize maybe your product even further. When you research all that with clarity, you approach it, you perform it in an algorithmic fashion because you built a structure. You built a structure for your artist. An artist cannot just be in the wind like, somebody save me. Parents, please give me permission to be an artist. Build a structure such that your artist can be an artist. And then when your art piece sells for $1,000, and when the second one sells for $1,100, and then the next one sells for $2,000, will you care about any opinions when gradually your art piece costs $10,000, $100,000? Will you care? No. So what is the guarantor? What is the prerequisite to achieving this level when the concept of self-esteem, opinion doesn't exist anymore? The prerequisite is you, for example, with your emotional impulse, some like very primordial impulse, you take that, you respect it, and you employ this structure-loving entity that can turn this disorganized impulse into an organized, orderly matter, such that it can function within these bounds to its full potential, such that it can interface with the outer world. This is where self-esteem is. And it grows immediately the moment you start reading about what's needed for your some secret personal aspirations to turn into a structure. When you start researching that, the moment you start doing that, when you understand how to build it, voices in the head will cease to exist. They will lose their relevance. But of course, there are also concept is important as well to overcome this initial impulse to sabotage that for good. That's where work with concept. And in Tantra also, it's not necessarily brute forcing new belief over yourself. We primarily need to work on exiting the anxiety field. We need to exit the trap of anxiety, and you talk about chronic anxiety. Chronic anxiety trap is that narrow tunnel that keeps you in very limited cognitive abilities, very limited problem-solving skill. And the goal of this anxiety trap is to keep you in anxiety until exhaustion. So how to exit that? Is by diffusion, by opening up. Instead of solely living in the domain where we're holding on to something, blocking the flow of life, we learn to create domains in which we can have some breather room, in which we can experience lightness, ease of life, looking what's outside of the tunnel, where we learn to breathe in and out, where we learn to connect with our body of pleasure. There are 5 bodies in Tantra. So body of pleasure is the most refined body that we need to be connected with and that we need to keep healthy, such that we function as close to our genetic limit as possible. That's how nature speaks to us that we're on the right path. Thank you, G2064. So, Hannah, how do we recognize self-sabotage before it's too late? How to recognize self-sabotage before it's too late. What's too late, Hannah? What is too late? Too late for what? Death, advanced stage. Self-sabotage, and if we think about it, self-sabotage is lack of connection with self. For instance, life preconditioned you. Let's draw a diagram here. A child, for example, has very low tolerance bar. This will be our tolerance. Tolerance. A child will have a bar right here. They will have just some gas in their belly and they will scream their ass off until you take care of it. As we grow up, we're taught to raise our tolerance bar. It goes up more until a normal, highly functioning adult feels approximately nothing. They just perform automated work to function in society. They also birth kids. They create bloody bucket relationships. So this is the core of all self-sabotage. That my tolerance to discomfort is so high that some fine things about my life, they just disappear in the context. I don't feel what I want. I don't feel what I need. I don't feel my body. I don't feel anything. I don't know what's right for me, what's wrong for me, what works for me, what harms me. I forgot. And there are very nice commodity devices that keep us even further distracted from that. So recognize self-sabotage before it's too late. Simple exercises. You need to increase your sensitivity to your desires. A good tool will be just audit your life. Do you like your life? Do you like where you are? Do you like how you feel? If no, then what do you not like? Let's look. What do you not like? Write an exhaustive list. What you don't like about your life. What doesn't work. And then write an exhaustive list of what you would like in your life. Basically, describe the portrait of life that you want. And then you need to sensitize yourself. You need to sensitize yourself, what's needed. You need to find a state in which you can create the baseline. I'm not going to come up with a drawing of that. Let's just imagine. Imagine a person, just physically imagine a person who got soaked under the rain. They're walking through mud somewhere in nature. They're walking through mud. It's getting dark out. They are soaking wet. Their feet are getting stuck in the viscous mud. It's getting cold. They're frozen, wet. They're incredibly exhausted by this walk. And it's getting darker. And they want to urinate, let's say, really strongly. Probably their desire to use bathroom will override every other discomfort. So they will stop and help themselves. But then they are going to probably rush home. They're probably going to do everything to rush to shelter. Because the shelter is where their discomforts will be addressed. And when they go to shelter, they probably, the first instinct, the first impulse will be to rip off wet clothes, dirty shoes, find the warmest spot, and warm themselves up. And if they have a shower or bathtub accessible, they're going to take warm shower or bath. They're not going to want to eat at that point. They're not going to think about beautiful art. They're not going to think about their mission at that point or anything alike. They're not going to think about sex. They're not going to think about anything. They just want to address their basic physical needs. They want to save themselves from that. Because those stimuli are very acute. They're out of the ordinary for them. And they're going to save themselves. But then when we live in the daily, ordinary life, we're rarely facing the discomforts that are of that order. When we, need to evade something, when we need to rush somewhere. We don't have that particularly acute need. But we have a very acute, this building up slow fatigue from doing things that go against our nature. And then we can ask ourselves, we can employ things like, I don't know, Hannah, if you heard the talk where we talked about martido and libido. Because there we did a table where we did a breakdown of things. Which ones are more in line with what we imagine as slow dying versus what we imagine as being a part of living. We did this classification. But when we're going through those slow things, we need to sensitize ourselves. to the long-lasting chronic dysfunction. And that can be achieved by either going on a very long, wonderful vacation where you can fully relax and you can exclaim this phrase that I wish this vacation was forever. This is the state that your body craves to experience on a daily basis. It would be good to do this snapshot of it. Or you can perform practices that are deeply relaxing. You can introduce certain processes in your life that help you to feel this most desired, that most pleasure-ridden state, or at least relaxed state, in which you will be deepening into your most peaceful, comfortable state of operation. And then on the background of that, you will start more vividly recognizing things that are not in line with what you want. So you are going to shave off this numbness and achieve a more, be able to access this pure state of your mind and body, at least temporarily, from which you will be seeing where an authenticity infiltrates your life. Another trick to that is not even soft practices perhaps, but it can be a very raging practice where you bring yourself to the point of exhaustion. For example, a lot of people hate their work. They hate their work, incredibly exhausted, they're burnt out, they don't know why they're doing it, they lost all meaning and stuff like that. Life stresses are too overwhelming for the amount of effort that they put into their jobs. And their job doesn't necessarily help to solve those life stressors. So what to do? Yell about it. Give your manifesto in the end. When you put all your emotions, body, your voice, and you express how deeply you hate what you're doing and why, in the end, exclaim your manifesto of how it should be. Exclaim the law that you want to obey instead of what's happening right now. So you can either go to tranquility and peace and find a baseline, or you can find your authentic desires through rage, if you're closer to rage, because there are two modes of operation. There will be a person who is rage, breakdown, aggression, and depression, sadness, low energy. Depending on where you're closest to. Are you closer to rage and breakdown, or are you closer to depression? Where are you? Because if you're closer to depression in your self-sabotage, or presumed self-sabotage, then we need to find extra energy for you to be able to act upon the self-sabotage. If you're closer to rage and aggression, then push yourself to that limit. Let it explode, and and find the kernel in it. Find the root. Find what you want. Find desire in that. Thank you, Kiva. Homework, I'm doing this tonight. Cool. So, this is up to you to figure out what you're closest to in your life. Breakdown, find a way to push yourself to the point of discharge. If depression, find the ways to energize yourself to this point. It was actually in our talk about working with emotions. Working with emotions, I was talking about some therapeutic pathways that I would employ with different clients. People who come, who are like, I don't want anything. I don't know what I want. I don't know who I am. I don't know. I just don't know where I live. I don't know what everything. And just don't. If a client comes with that, my goal is to bring them more resource, to help them find resource, to express, I want this, I want that. This is exactly what I want. I hate this. I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna change it. This is the energy that needs to be harvested first. Because a person that's closer to depression, they are not capable of desiring. They don't know what they want. And moreover, they don't know how to want anymore. But if a person comes with negative dominant emotion, it's easier. In a sense, it's one less step to work with them, because especially when it comes, because they already feel the dysfunction. They're already rebelling against the dysfunction. So that's the distinction. So determine for yourself, for this self-sabotage thing. It's our homework, yep. Questions, comments? Yes, I'll have to make time for it. Maybe I'll try the homework in the garden. Oh, which homework? Now, questions from Kiva. Good. Then we'll bounce back to cheating for the time being. Because it's a crisis of relationships, two people are affected by cheating. Cheating sounds already, there could be a person who, for example, what the practices, okay. There could be a couple that is, okay, let's be in open relationships. They go out, they explore, they do whatever, it's not cheating. It's agreed upon. They remain in relationship. They have a bond. It might be a different bond, but they, on a personal level, they are connected. The domain of relationship has life. It pulses with life. At least in some domain. Perhaps with some deficit. Perhaps with some problem. But it's pulsing. People are still experiencing some togetherness. Some alignment. They're making space for it. Some more classical format is when the domain of relationships becomes foreign for one or both partners. There once was some space, some garden built. Remember, we're doing the garden analogy. Some domain of relationships built. But either one of the partners or both partners, they don't feel at home there. It's not their space anymore. So some core part of personality disagrees with it, doesn't want to enter it, but neither wants to work on it. So once upon a time, there was built this domain, but now it's irrelevant. For many years, it was not maintained. It was, for example, left to just grow itself, left to live on its own. Nobody was walking in, or one person was never walked in. And now when they try to enter this domain, they feel it foreign. So they lost this connection. They lost the affinity to this space of relationships. There is a domain of cohabitation. There is a domain of fulfilling some social role. There is a domain of, I don't know, eating food together maybe. Paying bills together. Kids. But the domain of relationships is unattended because it's foreign. It's like you go to somebody's house and you go in their garden, and or you go, for example, you abandoned your place, and then somebody lived in that place already, but they didn't touch the garden. So all you will see in that garden, if you ever were presented to it, if you ever walked in it, you will only feel this weird feeling of ruins of the past life. Great tone. Great, thank you. How are you? And this person, has a memory of that garden. Once it was nice, but then something happened to it. I didn't care about it. Somebody else did. But it was so good, but now I cannot enter it. I can't walk in this place anymore. It's very foreign to me. So I will go see other gardens. Maybe I like other gardens better. So this pursuit of other gardens begins. You have beautiful flowers in your garden. May I sniff them? They're so beautiful. May I stay for a tea at your garden? Very nice. You have a very beautiful garden. Thank you. Stop by. And then there's this garden of memories that is totally foreign, that looks like ruins of some past hopes, illusion basically. And somebody else's garden with wonderful flowers where you are invited occasionally. You never built it. You never took care of it, just like what it has to offer. You want to drink tea in that garden. No authenticity in either case, just parts of personality, living in different parts of the world, living in different domains. Incredibly difficult life. And moreover, there is another part of this equation. The initial partner who's been cheated on. They're living in this garden with this weird idea that their partner will come. They sit in that garden, trying to work exhaustively on maintaining it, or thinking that, or living in their own illusion regarding how to embellish this garden such that this partner comes and participates in it, doing all of the job for it. This is also delirium. So all of these people, they live in delirium, when in fact this garden should be maintained by two people, investing pleasurable effort for both of them to enjoy it. It's impossible that one person does all the work on the garden, living in this fantasy like, oh, I think he will love those purple roses, unique ones. Investing a ton of effort, investing a ton of resources, trying to do something that the other person must do, working on this garden. Because we must both participate. We must both invest in some system. For it to carry value for us, for it to be pleasurable for us. It's dual leadership. Relationships are dual leadership. Two artists come together and create together. This is what makes intimate relationships so unique. It is collective work on creating this love garden by two people. Not one person creates everything and tries all this. How in Russia we have this rhyming thing, trusiki-busiki, all of that stuff. Nobody needs that. You're just getting exhausted. You're losing your vitality on something that must be met by effort of another person. But sometimes we substitute relationships with cohabitation. Like we live in the same apartment, hence we're in relationship. Or I bring resources, I bring money to family. This is relationships. No, it's not relationships. You bring money to the system of family. Has nothing to do with the domain of relationships. Because domain of relationships is built on our emotions, vulnerability, our growth, sharing things, being together, being in alignment, sharing pleasure, cultivating pleasure, cultivating the vector of life, working together and building a beautiful life in accord together. But when you treat relationships through the societal expectations, that relationship should suit some facade that the whole world will see, like that relationship should go through some milestones, that relationship should please my mom, that relationship should be this, should be addressing these and these things. And on year 4, we need to marry, we need to have a wedding, then we need to take a mortgage and buy a house, then we need to work for 30 years, raise children, stay together for the kids, and then go retire and die. This is not relationships. Relationships is something that happens from within you. Relationships is something that is your internal world that's pulsing along with your creativity. Very internal. Very outwardly thing. It's not something that happens on the facade. So when we think that I did so much for you, for me or for my function in the world, in the family system, I struggled so much, I sacrificed so much for you. Bloody bucket? I'll never be able to pay you back. The premise for relationships was not right in the very beginning. The premise of relationships when there are two people building the beautiful garden and enjoying the beautiful garden. Not enduring together. Not building a good, how we say in Russia actually, cell of a society. Not creating new citizens. If this is the premise for a relationship, why are we surprised? It's an innate split in the system. Split in the mind. In which the authentic self will rebel, inevitably. Either through destruction of the body, through deep suffering and pain, or through internal will, when the tolerance bar is a little bit lower than an absolute masochistic scenario. And then can relationships actually repair after the act of infidelity? Is there anything to repair? What are we going to repair? Remember we had a case study. One person had certain thing happen to their body and they felt really sad because they could not, the idea of how their body functioned before certain event seemed to be unattainable. So they would sabotage every effort to heal their body, to restore their body, because the standard was something before the event. With relationships, it's a similar thing. What are you restoring? If there was a garden that you cannot enter, it was illusionary garden. If there was a bloody bucket, it's a systemic bug. inevitably the people who underwent the event of infidelity on the premise of this delirium and internal split, this unauthentic behavior, exercising an authentic behavior for many years, it's going to be a construction of a new system if two people, for whatever reason, whatever they see in each other, would want to be together after that event. But another interesting question to me would be, what do you see in that person that you want to be together with? What is that togetherness? When was the last time you felt togetherness with this person? And who are you in this relationship? For example, a person comes to me with this infidelity thing. Who are you with in the relationship? And who are you in the relationship? What were you all of these years? Maybe what I will say is quite trivial, but the first step is to find who are you as a whole. Who are you in your authentic form? Because from realizing your authenticity and wholeness, this is the only way you can see your partner as a standalone, autonomous, beautiful individual with their collection of traits that don't define you, that are fully theirs. And when you achieve this understanding, the feeling of this understanding, when you experience this understanding, this is when you can build relationships with this person. When you fully see them, fully know yourself, fully see and feel yourself. Not tongue-tangled guts situation. Me and you, wholesome. Are you really in love with this person? Can you really see them? Because years of inauthenticity mean years of delirium, years of illusion, years of expectations. Was it a sober thing? Are you willing to build relationships with your partner as a whole? And how much you're going to locate to the world of relationships? Because classical stories we started off with, I sacrificed so much for our relationships. Basically shed a lot of the vital things, a lot of the essential things, put them on the altar to this relationship, removed myself from the world, took my creative part that was capable of so much curiosity, brightness, enjoyment in life, and threw it in the bloody bucket. Now waiting for payment for some reward. An impossible request. Draining thing. All of that, if we collect it back and return it back in place, where me as a creator, me as a leader, me as I want, me as I know how I want my life to be, me as pleasure, me as ecstasy, me as enjoyment, celebration of life, collect all that, return it back to place, and find the new way how to be in relationship. Instead of this evil, evil trade of throwing everything in the bloody bucket, waiting for payback, now satisfy my emotions, satisfy my desires, satisfy my vital powers, the need for vital powers, pay for the time that I gave you, realize me in real world. Now you become very wealthy, rich, marry me, and I will be wife of a very wealthy, successful man. And if you don't do this, I'll curse you. This is how it feels. Go ahead, it's your life. Whether you are in a relationship or not, it still remains your life. And relationships are an important but a part of it. Return this wholeness. There is fantastic advice that can be misinterpreted, that if you've been cheated on, take care of your life. Put all effort, put all energy to doing everything that you wanted about to change about your life. The problem may commence if this happens in this demonstrative fashion. It's like, see, I'm so successful now. See? Check it out. Do you still think that I'm worse than that whoever? No. It's your life. There's no need for having somebody else's eyes in place of yours. Authentic, yes. It's good for self-reflection. What about situationships? Does it still apply? Situationships. In situationships, when there is no clarity, why you are together, what you're doing together, the important thing is to ditch the expectations. There is also there's a huge room for delirium. There is a wonderful term which is called implied agreements, or those ethereal contracts that exist only in your imagination. In fact, a lot of the societal relationships are ridden, unfortunately, by those implied agreements. And that's the breeding ground for disappointment. Because unless two people sat down, discussed something clearly, exchanged their expectations, potentially debunked them, and discussed timelines, agreements, desires, plans, vision, unless that was performed or even signed on paper, then everything else is pretty much a fantasy. And the question is, why do you want to be in a fantasy that's not discussed? Because, for instance, meeting a guy or a girl, and you just go with them, you feel attraction. The first thing that brain starts thinking about is, oh my God, what if it's love of my life? I feel so attached. This guy is the most beautiful, the most supreme thing on planet Earth. I want to be together. I want to never part ways. I wonder if he's into me. La la la. Or with guys also. I don't know what she thinks about me. She never said anything. Tra la la. But at the same time, it's incredibly difficult to just ask the person, What do you feel? Do you enjoy spending time together? Would you want to spend more time together? Would you want to spend weekend? Would you want me to stay on the weekends with you? Or at your place? Or would you want to stay at my place on the weekends? So we take a real human, we create a hologram in our head, and we just live on the assumptions on the most desirable outcome, or also on the most anxious outcome, depending on our personality accentuation. And then when reality hits, we suddenly get disappointed. Now, what to be disappointed about? There was no written contract. There was no discussed contract. What to be disappointed about? Yes, your body definitely responded really gratifyingly. Ой, собака пришла. To this person. But that's it. Сейчас, excuse me. I need a moment to calibrate with my purse. Мой сладенький, ты пришел на работу, ты пришел работать. Ты очень хорошо поспал, ты очень хорошо покушал, и ты пришел на работу, мой малыш. Мне сегодня удобно, можно на столе постоять. Можешь даже полежать, если хочешь. Хорошо? Я не знаю. Кохост Кузьмичка, да. Кохостик Кузьмичка. Ох ты, спотягушки. My situationship ended a few months ago. We had been together 6 years. Together or in a situationship? Where did you go? You have been on in forever. Yes, I took a detour, but now I'm back. I had to reset a little bit. I need to reset my schedule, my sleep schedule. And I needed to build up for a very big body of work. That's why I was off. But I couldn't wait any longer. I really love streaming. So, situation ended a few months ago. So again, were you together? Was it situationships? Маленькие ушки, красивые такие, очень красивые ушки, потрясающие. Oh yeah, Trip, I have been as well. Thank you. Another thing is situationships are okay, it's delirium. Important to reflect, important to kick in the observer. If you feel like you cannot bear the vulnerability of attachment broken, it's important to employ an observer that will be tracking that, okay, the person is probably not on the same page with me. I want more intimacy, but the moment I initiate more intimacy, да, мой хороший, my situationship partner withdraws. So for that, an observer is needed to acknowledge the reality that, yes, I need this much of intimacy, my situationship partner needs like this much intimacy. So probably we're not a good match. So if I am happy with this amount of intimacy where we can align, then I can stay in this situationship. If I am not, then why am I staying? Perform some self-reflection and start planning an exit plan. Да, обалдеть вообще можно. Просто обалдеть. Ух ты ж, зубастый. But then another thing is relationships often come with milestones. Like as if my experience right now is pointless. Pointless, it's worthless. Pfft, nothing. Ты на стол будешь залазить? Ну давай на стол, только давай тетрадку уберем. Вот так. И очень осторожно, ладно? Вот так. Вот. Давай, co-hosting hard. Вот. There is a trap of milestones in just anything. That we live for 0.001% of moments, ignoring 99.999% of life that happens in between them. Balancing that is important. Because relationships are not real unless we marry. Relationships are not real unless we have 5 children. Relationships are not real unless we spend 10 years together. Relationships are not real unless I meet his grandma or something. But you are constantly in the flow of life. You're constantly in some process. Why is this process contradicting your happiness? Why is this process of situationship not in line, in tune with what you want to experience from life? Specifically experience, not milestones. This is an interesting question to ask. Why is it impossible to enjoy a human by your side? Why is it labeled as situationship necessarily? And why do you choose not 100% enjoyable process? What are you learning through that? And what is the achievement there and then? And why here and now is not worthy? That girl we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, the quiet one that I had a hard time getting things rolling with, you were saying you thought it was worth exploring. Well, update, she's so great and thoughtful. It's been going really good. Trip, remember we were discussing changing the context of your dates. What did you decide to do? I'm curious. How did you bring comfort to your relationship? And I'm really happy to hear that. Co-host is front and center. Yes. Уфастики мои. Ну куда ты так сел-то на край? Ты все будешь теперь не я теперь твой ко-хост. Ну давай. Ты будешь работать, давай рассказывай. На тебе ручку, рассказывай. Ну, не будешь. Because relationships, I mean, they're not a sprint for a medal, for some piece of wealth, for some goods. Relationships are a process of discovery, process of building trust, process of building intimacy, and then enjoyment of that intimacy, process of co-creation, process of sharing something, process of balancing ideas, process of balancing emotions. In situationships, it's also important to see what part is not satisfied. What part about that is not being satisfied? Where is the discomfort that renders it to be situationship? Because it's not setting record that we've been together for 10 years. Only 5 quarrels. Ну, его сидеть. Вот так вот, все, да. С мамочкой будешь так сидеть теперь. Ну, давай так. Ну, хороший. What about triples? Or what about them? Do you have specific story, case study? We'll figure it out. Adding my dog to the mix on our dates. Okay, we did the sunset the other night and I packed a cooler bag and picked up food and had a picnic at the sunset. Focused a lot on my trained dog. Okay, cool. Your untrained dog wanted to eat all the delicious things you brought. And also, did you find ease? Let's see what hidden message we received. Oh, I can't view them. Some message got hidden. Oh, messages. The goat. What's your opinion on thruples? Which thruples? Which particular case? I'm not like surrounded by thruples marching around me to generate some well-formed opinion based on my personal stats. So if you have a particular story or a particular question, refine it further. I've had him 3 weeks, so I'm working on training him still. Yeah, amazing. 1 male and 2 women. Refine more, I don't know. Are these people happy? Are these people in communication? Kurt, it's not Scottish, it's Yorkie Poodle. Trimmed to schnauzer. Yeah, собачка. But he's curly. Even on this lens you can see the waves. Also, 1 male, 2 women. It's an interesting dynamic also to study what the motivation behind this union, what these women pursue, why only 2 women, why not more women? Are these women secretly in competition with each other? Are these women feeling like they cannot feel, there is such an interesting thing, is that the other person kind of may validate my experience. For instance, I myself, I cannot view my partner as valuable. I don't know if he or she is good enough. But I will look how, for example, this other girl or this other man like my partner. And that makes me appreciate them, because I myself, I can't value, my opinion is 0 in my life. But this other person liking my partner is amazing, very valuable. So through their eyes, I see the value in that. I made a good choice. Because I'm disconnected with myself. I don't have my own compass. I don't know what exactly I want. For instance, I had very authoritative parents, and they suppressed my ability to like things or to make good judgments. Or whenever I would choose anything as a child, they would always be like, "Foo, how could you ever choose that? Gross, let me fix it for you. Let me make a choice next time." If parents were like that, then as an adult, you will have absolutely skewed perception of what you want, who you are, what to do. And then, if that girl likes my boy, good. Then my boy is good. Amazing. That's one actually facet also of cheating. Sometimes cheating events, they bring more fire in relationship, because person themselves cannot validate relationships for themselves. I was thinking most like partnership among the three as opposed to one provider. Why one provider and three? Three contributing? Well, it's a relationship, or is it acquisition of wealth? Like, we need to figure it out. Bonjour, will. On another note, she's still quiet and is still tough keeping on the conversation flowing. Just seems to be more comfortable with less pressure. Less pressure. Yes, less pressure, even less pressure. Reduce pressure. I'm not going to give you any relationship advice like choose or stick or push or do. Less pressure. Less pressure is always a good strategy. Primarily on yourself. And also being clear with your desires. So I was thinking more of a partnership among the three as opposed to one provider. So it's an economic union of three. Yeah, like a relationship, just like any other couple, but plus one. Like relationship or economic alliance. Provider is not the relationship. The relationship are between human and human. You're talking about economic contractual duties. I mean, de facto, it happens a lot in ultra wealthy men, especially with more Eastern mentality. When they have numerous women, numerous mothers of their children, and they sponsor all of this shebang. Happens. Perhaps the direction of the economy will be bringing more of such scenarios where, but I would imagine it more on several men per woman, depending on the demographic ratios of men, women. Send co-host a cuddle. Тебе обнимашки прислали. Тебе обнимашки прислали, мой любимый. But then again, where is the relationship? This must be the most screen time I've seen co-host. Now he has a table. Yep. The зайчик. Cat is bigger than the dog. Yep, he's small. But he's actually surprisingly close in size to Spaniel. I was shocked the other day. I thought that he's so tiny, but he's much bigger than some Maltese dogs. He's taller, mostly. He's very tall. And gives him some grace. But then he's almost the height of a Spaniel. I never understand throuple relationships. It would always end in jealousy and secrets, I feel like. Ты меня так любишь, поцелуйчик мой, спасибо. Спасибо, мой хороший. Мой любимый, платье, спасибо, скользко, да? No, the logistics there, Chip, is challenging because the motives are unclear. If the motives are purely economical, why not? You know, everyone survives as they can, whatever works for them. But in terms of relationships, I also struggle to comprehend that because logistically it will be difficult. I remember following a lot of polyamorous influencers back in the day. All of their content is, we discussed relationships, how will we restructure relationships, this will be our new structure, this will be our new discussion, this is our weekly processing meeting, this is my bi-weekly date with this partner, this is my other date with this partner. I need to find a plan of how to organize everyone, how to do all of this. And I'm like, okay, if you're not if you're not making content out of it, then it's not a good idea to be in this relationship almost, logistically. But if you are doing, it's like people who make content off of building some house. They buy some rundown house in Europe, and they make content about how they remodel it. And making content about that, posting it online, pays for their repairs of the house. So them living in that rundown house and remodeling it is contingent upon them making content about it. So this is such a like interesting cycle there. And so polyamorous relationships and throuple dynamics, they remind me of that it's almost not worthy of effort. Because why would you need this effort? If you put everything in the proper domain, if you live a creatively fulfilling life, you go to your only one relationship with like, finally. But if you need to have weekly meetings, Zoom gatherings, discussions, planning, arrangements, psychological support, there's always therapy involved in that. This is rather daunting. So that's what I don't vibe with. Let me go wash my hands because my hands smell like dog. And I'll be back. I also clean a little bit. Such an interesting intermission we have. And I'll be back again. I wonder, by the way, if you can hear me when I walk out. You must be able to. It's like almost, dissolution of intimacy. I don't know how to practically assemble all that. You let other energies in your life. Good evening, Raccoon Man. You go through a lot of the energy exchanges. Even with one partner. Imagine your partner comes and they have a certain mood. In the same space, it will have some contagion effect. You will probably get triggered in some ways by their mood. At least your curiosity will be triggered. That will be followed by some investment of energy in figuring this out. Now you have 2 people, 3 people, and that's a relationship. It's not just an occasional friendship. No, it's a relationship. How much energy and time are you willing to allocate to fixing all of that? If you are in actual relationship where you are in tune with your partner, like almost telepathically in tune, moving together. Also, how 3 people or 4 people or 5 people going to move together if they are to experience all facets of their personalities, specifically in the relationship domain. Not talking about even some casual sex that can technically be done with turned off mind if you prime yourself in the right way, but specifically relationships. And when it is relationship for the sake of relationship, that's not, in my opinion, just logistically. It's easy actually, what I told you about that before. Friendships are really good to have when they are around some activity. It's really difficult to have maintain friendship in which You only get together to, I don't know, sit at the bar somewhere or visit each other and just like talk about the updates of your life. The friendship acquires much more interesting flavor when you are doing something together. Same with relationship. You are living your life together. You are embarking on different adventures together. So with friendships fall apart like pew when there is nothing you can do together. When you're just sitting, and you, what did she say? What did he say? And what? Not once, twice a year, okay. But not a part of your. You will be closer to your coworkers, perhaps some coworker with whom you share activity, with whom you share a huge domain of your life, than with a friend who moved in the absolutely different direction. Thank you, Kurt. So far, I went through many topics. Kiva, yes, thanks to Hannah and our newly joined friends. Otherwise, wonderful utopia idea. Everyone can be with everyone. Thank you, James. I'm also loving my 10. You know, I have carrot cake therapy. I bought a whole bag of carrots. I'm gonna make another one. I make the most wonderful carrot cake without any added sugar. There's no sweetener in the batter, just carrots. And I add prunes and dried apricots, a bunch of soaked walnuts, and I use spelt flour and about 5 eggs. So I make this huge cake, 5, 6 eggs, and then I bought a ton of cream cheese, and I mix it with dates and with orange zest, Oh. And then I make super thick layers of cream. Such a good cake. It's amazing. So carrots for pigment. So it's carrot. What country are you from? I'm from many countries. I move. My life is quite nomadic. So with what was I saying? Yeah, utopic idea. I love carrot cake. Me too. One is so delicious. It's so good. Maybe I will eventually start selling it. Imagine, I will have a Tantra carrot cake brand. So everybody can be sleeping with everybody, loving everybody. Well, this is possible in very enclosed communities where people are not bound to resource acquisition, where there is egalitarian system. And this again, the environment must be safe, environment must be abundant, environment must be healthy, and more or less the same level of development between people. A good example will be a dormitory of some specific department in the university. This is where it's incredibly easy to just make friends, sleep around, because you're doing the same thing. You're building close relationships with lots of people at once. You make friends, you're all young and healthy, you sleep with each other, and nobody thinks anything about that. The moment you need to start working acquisition of resources, instead of living in this halcyon, this is when it somehow shatters, because the certain conditions of living in the world, they put constraints on how much and with whom you can do. Yugoslavia, your accent sounds similar. I'm natively Russian speaker. Got sidetracked. Kievishka carrot cake is an important sidetrack. It flashes. Which hormones does it produce in my mind right now? I don't know. In my head. Just like coconut water. Yes. Oh my god, carrot cake. Oh, we had an impulse today to make it. It was such a hot day. And it was, yeah, we kind of did some cleaning and some cooking. And then, like, I was ready to make carrot cake. And I like, tomorrow. Tomorrow. So now it's the project for tomorrow. How I want it right now. I don't want to make it, I want to have it. Thank you, James. Let's plug the phone because it's better. Also, what time is it? 11. We're doing so amazing on time right now. I feel so much more authentic, let's say, when I am not staying up till super late. So great. You have to go. Can you watch me? Can you watch you make it? Yes, potentially. I'll consider that. You can watch me eat it. At the very least. Thank you for all you taught me tonight. I have made notes. Thank you for letting you bring to the world. We love you, Hannah Lucy. I love you too. Thank you so much. Цветочки, 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 цветочки. Let's bring the phone closer because I want to make sure that we hear each other. Send you virtual flowers as well. Just Kiva. Аннушка. Пока-пока. Good evening, good night, yes. So, it was a good start of new season, guys. Then we discussed cheating. And when we have whiteboard, we might go in a little bit into more details about that. It was kind of hectic, but still good. I think we discussed the important foundation of the issue. Because one of the things, in fact, review, yes. The pursuit of autonomy, the pursuit of authentic self, I think, is one of the big drivers of cheating. Whatever motives, whatever psychological structure, whatever prerequisites the person had to come to that point. But I think that a lot of the dysfunction is an attempt to either destroy the dysfunctional system or to stabilize oneself to free them in the pursuit of authenticity or actual pursuits. They're just done in a non-wholesome, in a more desperate and a more like psychotic way oftentimes. Again, as we discussed from the narrow tunnel, the decision making is pretty bad because there is very low energy. And with cheating, remember, one of the things was the person who, the side piece, is effectively a donor of energy. The donor of energy that is employed to supply energy to the dysfunctional system. That's destructive for both people. Kiushka also unlocked those hearts. They're so on brand. Actually pixelated. That's cool. Kurt, thank you so much. And touchki, rain. So, we have This a little bit broken down connection between different parts of our personality that starts creating those bizarre choices, bizarre life choices that are destructive, that bring more stress into one's life. So, in some instances, people have regret after they've cheated. Sometimes they regret losing some relationship, which oftentimes they regret only a part of it. They never found out the way to live without the conflict. For example, a lot of times there's like, well, I will either sacrifice myself but keep the relationship going, or I will embrace myself. Sometimes regret of lost relationships due to cheating is more of an illusion as well, because that relationship was clearly incompatible with you living healthy, wholesome life. So there was self-deception, and there is self-deception. There's still an illusion going on. So another thing that's I'll just talk about the cliche case when there is a post-divorce glow up, or the person who is a victim of cheating bounces back with a lot of internal fire, with a lot of energy, with a glow up after this event happened and they exit the relationship. This is a symptom that there was a bloody bucket scenario. Why do bloody bucket? Well, the training to engage in these systems is that you need to buy love, you need to buy joy, you need to buy gratification with the currency of suffering, which is a standard currency in social relationships in our world, sadly. Um, and also maintenance of delirium. Trying to guess, trying to do all the work, trying to maintain the relationship that only exists in your head. So that's the payment for that. No wonder that when this relationship gets destroyed, and the person is free from it, they suddenly gain a lot of resource. But relationships, I don't think that they should be the slaughterhouse for a person. Remember when we just started talking about crisis in relationships? Remember I put that the zeroth crisis is, oops, I don't have relationships. How sad? And then we went through those like year 1, 2, then 3, 5, then 7-year crisis, then 10-year crisis, whatever. Remember, I was talking about this paradox that the person would be crying, don't have relationships, they want, they are earning for intimacy, they're earning for love, connection, but then they end up being burnt out, torn apart, depressed, tired individual in the end. So, natural question is, what was this for? What did you want, and why what you wanted did not correspond to what you got, to what you've built? Why are you building the totally opposite thing from what you wanted? Very pretty chat. Килышка, спасибо. Where are these? Are these hearts like default emoji, or did you create it somehow? So that's the paradox that I've been bothered by since childhood. Since childhood, I was living, and I was even telling like adults. There's so much stress in the outer world. Why do you come home to each other, to hate each other? What is this for? To me, it was not. It was a very strange situation. It's okay, it's understandable. There is some economical premise for that. There are surely societies in which economically it makes sense sometimes for survival's sake. But if there is freedom of choice, or it may seem like it makes sense for economical purposes, or it might be incredibly difficult to live otherwise if you have a huge, tightly knit family system, some authoritative family system that prevents you from exiting that. It must be an incredibly difficult act to live any differently. But if you more or less have freedom, why choose that over other scenarios? It's been haunting me since I was probably 5, 6 years old. Formulate this question so many times and vocalized it. But then, of course, when I entered adulthood, I faced the problems myself. That certain idealistic things that I had in mind, they were far harder to execute in real life. And so my understanding right now is how I came to practically resolve my childhood conundrum through methodology, through particular understanding of things and how to, and behavioral changes. Oh, so beautiful, so bright. And I know I see a lot of videos on YouTube. How to save relationships after cheating. How to save relationship after cheating. Is there a relationship after cheating? What are you saving? What are you saving? It's like conservatives. I'm a conservative person. What are you conserving? What are you conserving exactly? What are you saving? What are you... You treat emotions like an algebra equation. There are two approaches. I mean, from what you hear, what you see me doing here is, of course, is view from the outside. Because when a person when a person is in crisis, when they come to seek help, they are from within the wave of emotion. They don't know how to get out of the chemical captivity. This is where my job is to bring clarity, because when you are inside of the wave that disables your ability to perceive life, world, yourself, your resources, what's happening clearly, you're not going to have a good path, you're not going to have good solutions, you're not going to feel yourself. That's where a person who can step out of the system and bring you out of the system is needed. At the same time, there is an opposite thing that you may feel from me dissecting these things. When I'm talking about that from the outside, you are not seeing me experiencing the things from the inside. Sometimes I impersonate the emotions. I do impersonate that sometimes. But in real life, there's a huge domain where I experience emotion, for sure. And in fact, the lower the threshold is, the easier you can surrender to emotions when the environment permits. The more easygoing life will be if emotions do arise. The more healthy your nervous system will be. So surrendering to emotions is as important, and experiencing emotions is as important as being able to step out. In Tantra, this principle is balance. Balance, being able to give in to one or the other, depending on what makes sense, what is needed right now. They kind of are the average joy youth. By the way, what's your opinion or discussion on thruples? So easy to say on the outside, but when you're in it, you're stepping away from everything you want. Obviously, it's not healthy. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, so beautiful, Kiyoshka. And also, by the way, some people, it was so interesting. Several people told me last week, or when was our last stream? It was over a week ago. Several people told me that I think too much. And actually listened. I listened to that. And Kiva also reported having practiced freedom from thoughts. And I also was realizing that I need to give in more to just experiential part. That's why I started all past week. I was doing my practices, like sensing practices, relaxing practices, because indeed there was a huge kind of overwhelm with thoughts. And then I showed in the beginning, I wrote everything that was sitting in my mind just to offload it. And yeah, I'm listening. When certain things, also another thing, it was funny. Several people told me that I was tired, that I needed to rest. And the thing was the stream where people start. So the stream before the last one. Remember also Kiva brought up something about. We started basically after Kiva's comment, we started talking about friendships. And oh my god, it was also. I met with a person basically. I went for a walk with the person. And the very first moment, my intuition was screaming. Something that's like. Something is squeaky here. But I decided to be, my inquisitive part, the one that's thoughtful, the one that is not so animalistic, more analytical, decided to just go and study my feelings, observe what happens, just embrace the experience. I was so exhausted afterwards. And people were telling me in the stream, you're so tired. After the stream, you should rest. Start commenting, you should rest. People sent me emails about, you should rest. And I'm like, yeah, I was freaking tired. And I mean, people sensed that from me. It was very interesting. Even though I usually like raise my energy before the stream, I do certain things that make me enter this persona that is capable of giving, giving, giving. It's that energy flow. But I was thinking so heavily. And that person that I worked with, surprisingly, catalyzed because the person was that tipped me over the edge on things that I felt discontent with. And because of that interference in my steady flow, I was able to rebel against all dysfunction that I had creeping up. And that's why I took whole vacation, week-long vacation last week, and embarked on a new project that's very important for me. But then I kept delaying and pushing and pushing and pushing. So And another lesson was that to trust your gut feeling instead of just trying to think everything. Because certain mental experiments, they are really energy demanding. And I realized that, I cannot afford certain things. I cannot afford certain things that used to be a part of my life anymore. Experiences that would just wait, it just would leave me inquiring, like, what was it for? Putting me in some illusions or expectations. I feel like I just underwent an exam at which a lot of the checkboxes were finally filled. I did behavioral change that was favoring my authenticity, because if you feel that there's like no possible match, there's no possible shared experience, shared world possible, just don't. Maybe don't. If that's not something that is a relevant lesson for you. I don't know. Okay, left on a good, interesting note. Last stream with lots of thinking. I'm Combat PTSD veteran, and I have learned from you how to identify a problem, how to rectify a problem. I have more options now. Raccoon Man, thank you for your feedback. Stick around if you have any questions, by the way. If you have any case studies or particular things you would like to discuss, feel free to email me or feel free to inquire in the stream. Interesting, must be also good. Good job. Dobry Slovak, Yushka. Oh, so tropical looking. Only to a point. People will take it too far. Your opinion gave me some things to consider in regard to dealing with two other personalities aside from my own. It's kind of hard to find open-minded people. Oh, if you don't mind sharing, I'm curious what your perspective is on that. Киюшка, спасибо большое за подарок. Настя, дорогая, простите за откровение, но не могу не написать. Рада, что мой комментарий помог исцелить проблему в среду, о которой вы упомянули. Но искренне надеюсь, что вам не придется часто проходить через такие моменты. Обнимаю вас этими словами. Киюшка, это был очень такой интенсивный урок для меня. И ваши слова тогда, они меня наклонили в сторону, что если я могу это вот так взять и тоже обнять? Что если у меня во мне есть место для того, чтобы и это впустить в свою жизнь? А потом я поняла, что это, тупо иллюзия. Потому что, как, например, в situationships, у тебя, например, какая-то там идет жизнь, и у тебя там этот человек в этой жизни там варится, как-то что-то происходит, а у этого человека идет другая жизнь, параллельная, и вы друг друга не слышите. И мне так повезло, что это было так интенсивно. Я не спала 2 ночи. Я очень плохо спала 2 ночи. Потому что у меня был какой-то прям вот эмоциональный такой вот фум. Мне снились какие-то тупые сны, в которые я веду какие-то беседы, в которых что-то происходит очень интенсивное. И я поняла, что вот это вот широкий жест, там, например, отогреть кого-то своей любовью вот так вот, Но это мой персональный какой-то бред был. И поэтому после того, насколько мое тело, моя психика, все просто пошло против этого, я высказала там свою правду, я впервые в жизни, я полностью закрыла дверь в этот контакт. Я просто вот впервые в жизни, я это просто вот закрыла. Потому что раньше у меня был такой прикол, что я отогрею, все будет хорошо. Я сейчас додружу, я вот сейчас буду так дружить, или я буду так любить, и что все получится. Или что человек, я думаю, а зачем мне это? Зачем? Какая у этого функция? То есть я реально пошла в какой-то вот прежний сценарий, на секунду я пошла в этот прежний сценарий на один вечер, когда я сейчас вот какое-то достижение там и тогда себе сделаю. Я поняла, что ценность этого нулевая. Потому что вот моя жизнь с фантазией, а вот реальный человек. И при этом мое эмоциональное состояние, это было очень дорогое какое-то общение получилось. Ну, ты помнишь, потому что у меня тогда был стрим просто легендарный, блин. Мне казалось, что я не верю своим словам, я не понимаю, что я несу вообще. То есть у меня было, я не могу людей контейнировать. То есть я обычно иду, например, в стрим или в работу с людьми, я иду на консультацию, и у меня есть силы. Я могу общаться, я могу с людьми взаимодействовать, я могу контейнировать, я могу выдерживать эмоции. У меня работает быстро очень реакция. Но в тот раз это был такой сценарий, что мне реально было тяжело, впервые в жизни мне было тяжело вести стрим. Я в шоке была. Куда делась моя энергия? Куда делась моя... Куда делись мои вообще силы? У меня было чувство, что я просто вернулась... Вот у меня было отношение, первый парень мой. Отношения там были, конечно, безобразные. Мы там чуть ли там не до драк доходило. И там был очень большой компонент соревновательный. То есть у меня мои успехи мой парень не мог вообще переносить. Для него это была какая-то вообще невозможная территория, когда у меня происходило что-то хорошее. И тут я сталкиваюсь, я понимаю, что человек мне настолько как-то напомнил все это. У меня все поднялось внутри. Ну просто жуть. Я была так рада, что я смогла вовремя подумать, что это никому не нужно. Никомушеньки. И такая свобода появилась. Короче, у меня был такой урок интенсивный. Поэтому, ну, кстати, на удивление, ты знаешь, отпуск был катализирован этим сценарием, этой ситуацией. Просто длительной, там, какой-то длительной прогулкой с одним человеком. Это был катализатор того, что я просто взяла на неделю вот отпуск. Потому что он показал мне огромное такое вот поле, где мне нужно было чуть-чуть подкрутить систему. Извините за такую исповедь, но хотела больше рассказать. Oh my god, trap. No, it's not that. Спасибо большое за подарочек тоже. Я вас тоже обнимаю. чем-нибудь. This thought has been swirling around my head for a while now after I watched the stream and took notes, and I'm just expressing. Interesting synchronization. Hello, Nashurikin, all lasting friends. I hope you're well, not dropped off the planet, but slightly off the internet for now. So take care, I'll catch you on the flip side. I wonder on the flip side of what, Shuriken? Of your internet detox or something else? Oh, sorry for so much Russian text. Please learn English in the chat. Sometimes it can be so hard to deal with emotions in your own head. Trip, I'm just talking about about the experience. I met a person who was, who in a nutshell resembled my very first relationship, with a lot of competition, and competition not like productive competition, but a lot of competition that was very bitter, very hard to handle. So that thing was incredibly intense to me. And then Q happened to write a comment that little stream after that meeting, after that encounter, that was super in tune with some conundrums that I had in my head about that. Кирюшка, спасибо большое. Я говорю это не ради благодарности или из-за чувства сочувствия, как ваша подписчица, которая вас очень уважает, потому что написала это от самой души. No, that madam. Thank you, Кирюшка. Thank you. I really appreciate it. А сочувствовать, кстати, нечему. Это все сочувствие тут... You know, it's all in the video, how to use people ultimately. What they show. What this situation communicates to you. And you know, it's for me, it's been a year of different lessons, which I suddenly became cognizant about, because there were lessons of my makeover, like where I was tested. You know, like, will you settle for this, or will you go for this or not? Will you go for this kind of gratification or not? Are you on the path or are you not? So I've been having those all year. And this was a super intense one. Super intense, but very easy, I would say. I should say this lesson was incredibly easy. I was very happy that I just, I came to the point in which I just don't entertain certain things. For some, I don't know, cheap popularity or whatever it may be. Whatever is screwed up. You know, whatever is screwed up, motivation can be in your head. Because back in the day, you know, it would be such a thing to just sell your soul, not sell your soul, but sell your time rather. Sell your time, sell your energy, sell your mind for some cheap gratification, like cheap attention or something very non-sustainable, something very not substantial. So that was a theme. And I'm so happy that I built my life in a way that it's no longer something interesting. So it's all in all, it's very cool. And the video how to use people was was pretty much about that. Watch what lessons people bring you. Watch what they show you. Partially, that's what we can derive from that. Self-love is the best love. Self-respect, perhaps. Respect of your path, respect of what you do. And also, it's all self-balancing. Because you build life that is in accordance to your authentic pursuits, authentic desires. You build life, you build routine that's aligned with that. You cultivate lifestyle, you cultivate your state, you cultivate your actions, behaviors that are in line with that. And then you notice that other things, they just no longer stick. They no longer have space there. This is something that was like revelation and practice to me this time. For some reason, this was the brightest. It was wonderful. I don't want to drag this topic, but yeah, it was profound. I shouldn't appreciate that. It was profound, comprehensive, and very bothersome. And intuition. In Tantra, you see, there are schools of thought that glorify just rational. And again, it may seem like I'm obsessed with rationalizing everything on my channel and the streams. But feeling, listening to your body, does your body set the boundary? Does your body do this? Do you shrink when you are presented with certain situations, certain people? How does your body sense? When I'm not talking about some hierarchical fears like social anxiety. I'm talking more about when you are in the equal environment, or when you are just feeling like you need to protect yourself from something. This thing is telling something. Rather telling that the distance shall be kept. That's why we talk about the union of intuition, body, and rational mind, emotions. Very important to listen to all of them. Why do you want, for instance, by the way, anthropos, or not even anthropos, certain like relationship models, or even self-care, some healthy lifestyle rituals? Why do you want to make your life tougher on yourself? Why do you want to add more complexity, more difficulty specifically, not essential sophistication that carries some aesthetical value, that carries development, that carries necessary detailization of perception, that carries ability to think more deeply, manipulate more complex concepts for problem solving? Not that. Why make life more difficult, more hardship infused, electively? Why elect the experience like that? That's another bug that exists in a lot of people. And remember also with the vegan community too, that's where I interfaced it very vividly. When people do embark on the activities that go against their impulse, and the more they endure, the more they're glorified for no particular result, for no particular quality of life enhancement. No, it's just endurance for the sake of endurance. People who sit in the ice baths for some extended periods of time, people who eat exclusively non-tasty bland foods because they're tough, or there's a cohort of people who eat raw meat when they hate it. There are some people who love raw meat, but there are people who absolutely hate it. But they will force themselves to eat bland raw meat because it's tough. So this added, or enduring some difficult people. Yeah, you can totally, it's almost codependency, it's like totally. Get together with a person who is extremely troubled. Get together with a person who constantly needs to be rescued from some issues. Get together, increase difficulty of your life. Wonderful. But this increased difficulty is this added margin of suffering, added margin of endurance, victimhood. So that's an interesting pattern as well. Why endure when you cannot endure? Why electively choose compromise when you can not compromise? Why? Oftentimes there's some transaction. And boy, I'm so happy, Kiva. I'm so happy that there is nothing I can buy with that currency anymore. Fantastic. Hi Ma, hi beautiful, how are you doing? I'm just got off work, take a nice hot shower, and think of you, think of me, boy. I just wanted to say this and I let you know how I felt. I couldn't even take a nap in my garden. Sorry, madam. Kivushka, no, no, why sorry? Couldn't even take a nap in my garden. That's intense. I don't know. You never share. You never. I never. I know. Don't know what was really bugging you because it's been like my story, and I feel so weird just like about it. I hope you are. I hope you came to some reconciliation because I don't know how the story was looking on your end, so I can only hope that you found some closure to that because it sounds intense on your end. Глубоко пришла. And my emotions too, like it's I'm okay. Good, Kiva. I'm happy to hear that. I also came to closure on that, and the world loves you, Kiva. You'll be grand. Hippocrates showed up with a beautiful announcement. I only recalled when I went to take notes to finish. Yeah, I hope we're past that. Mutually, not mutually, but you and I separately. Because it's been like 2 days for me that my mind was clear of that. I noticed that sense of ease about it. That happened rather gradually. There are stages of clearing my mind of that. And also like challenging my perception because I was like, what if I just haven't socialized in so long that my mind perceives it in distorted way? So maybe I just should give it some second view and so on. But then I realized that no, I actually did socialize. And no socialization was affecting me to that degree. So it was, after all, trust the intuition thing. Hippocrates, how have you been? Been busy. Good. How have you been? More to the point. I have been busy as well. And embarked on a new project. I'll remain cryptic for now, just to keep energy there. But that's the state of affairs. Different kind of dobry slava, but always good, Kiva. Wonderful. И цветочки. Yeah, we should return to good spirits and forward vision as opposed to um, bouncing there, I think. It would be good because there's such good prospects ahead. And that's where the horizon is clear. So I'm excited about that. Question: is there a difference between Tantra and plain old awareness? There is difference between Tantra and plain old awareness. It's like a tongue twister, like l'orologio in Italian. Always gets me. So, Tantra is a system of practices, methods, and exercises that balance all body and mind together. They don't actually differentiate body and mind together for achievement of best possible quality of life. And having good handle on your energy, on your ability to navigate life scenarios and design them, becoming a leader. Also, it's a culture of enjoyment. Awareness does not necessitate enjoyment. Tantra is the art and the school of enjoyment. Because convention is that suffering is a currency, especially Western convention. Suffering buys you stuff. No, suffering is a sign that you're doing something messed up. Nature communicates to you via suffering. Conversely, nature communicates to you that you're doing something good through pleasure. Tantra helps you to return to remember pleasure, to teach you pleasure, and to balance your life. And it's exercises. On Saturdays, every other Saturday, we conduct workshops where we try practices. Workshops are happening in Zoom. Small groups, free meeting, where you can come and try practices. But I encourage people who attend several live streams to attend the workshops. But if you have very deep interest or you have a specific thing that you would like to figure out, then you can surely join me, especially if you write out what you're interested in, what you're pursuing in the email. My email is found on my channel. So you can get some taste for the practices. Hippocrates, Kiva, Almond yesterday, all attended my workshops. So if you have any questions, it's a good chance to ask them what they represent. Kivushka is beautifying the chat. Oh, rolling like a 16x wheeler with no brakes, no horizons, just a long road. Cryptic friends of mine. Hello, are you supporting Brazil in the World Cup? No, I don't care for World Cup at all. I support Brazil aesthetics. This top, I saw it at the store probably a month ago, and I was like, I'm buying it eventually, probably. And I just got it yesterday. I'm so happy about it. Килушка. Oh, this looks like бусики that I need. Сердечками. Hippocrates. Review. We all attended workshops, would recommend. Oh. Yeah, why we don't perform practices? Usually, sometimes we do, but usually we don't. Uh, we don't perform them in live stream because live stream format doesn't allow that, because it can be a format of meditation. It's meditation like exercises, so to speak. Tantric meditation is an active meditation where you are doing some physical and mental exercises that require certain environment, and also feedback sometimes. Oh, the very first workshop will always be my favorite. Kiva, we never finished that practice. If hmm no, next time we're doing breathing practices. We're going to do breathing practices, I think, next time. We can do breathing practices. They will not be too long, actually. So we can do on this upcoming Saturday, what we can do, we'll see what attendance we have. And maybe we can do the continuation of this practice. The number one. What if how to organize it? If you have a specific request, if you have specific demand or idea or thought or some experience that you would like to rewrite, think about it, Kiva. Because we can bring that practice to completion. But it's not it. If you want, we can detour it into the other direction. There's actually this practice is what we did. Is the prep step. This emoji is my expression while I wait. Hippocrates, you've been emphasizing your old manhood so much. I don't buy this. But sleep is surely important, whether you're young or old. So this practice can be brought to multiple directions. So Kiva, if you have some ideas or some itch or something that's a priority for you to do, you can email me your idea and we can design the next workshop such that I walk you through the most appropriate variant of that practice for your demand. Because this practice can be either geared towards partnership or rewiring relationships. This practice can be used for people who are already in relationships. It can be used for potentiating love cultivation and also goal achievement. This practice can be used for initiation purposes. I did it once. It was wonderful. Super amazing. There was a case of conflict with sexuality. Like some women are fucking women, dirty whores, and I'm a good girl, and I don't allow myself some sexuality. In that case was wonderful case study where I designed it as initiation into a wholesome, put together sexuality feeling, instead of having this like foo and oh So that is a variant. And then there is this full blown destiny healing. Destiny healing, I would budget 2 hours for it. If you want, you can be a subject to do full destiny healing. That has nothing to do with your current experiences. That has nothing to do with your. You can have an intention that you can keep to yourself, but it is to walk you through the experience before birth, your conception, while you were in the belly, your birth, and after birth to present time. Oh, wow, what a cat! That's cool. Thank you, New Beginning. Thank you so much. That's a cool one. Hippocrates. I just met wonderful people who are approaching their 80s. Stop bullshitting me. Their mindset is that they have whole life ahead. I was talking to them about how my grandma, who is close to their age, a little bit younger, wants to travel, and they're like, "Oh, of course, she should prepare. She should come. Whole life ahead, a lot of adventures to plan." I ain't buying that. Elman says the emotions meditation worked good last time. That's cool. I'll keep note of the moment can think. Kivivka, sure. So destiny healing, I'll tell you more about that. That's a super fascinating meditation because the states that you're experiencing there are just crazy. So it's an interesting one. It's a feedback meditation. And then there are different variants of how it can be used for like relationship stuff, finding partner, improving your life, anything. So, gotta go. I think you're the most genuine teacher person. Have a great night. Thank you so much for your gift, Trip. And thank you for your kind words. That's super cool. You also have a great night. And Trip, also consider signing up for a workshop. Although maybe it will be, phew, we'll think of something. How to introduce new people. So Trip, email me. Because Kiva, you enjoyed that practice a lot. It's no wonder you enjoyed it. Because that practice is meant to be enjoyable. This practice is supposed to build you a standard of ecstatic um, life pulse. Life pulse can be conceptualized as the union between stillness, container, and then life force. So there's space and life force that infuses it. And then it creates the material perception idea of what's life, what's most like ecstatic experience of life. So it's meant to be very pleasant. And that pleasure standard is what's used in all of the practices that I described. So we can possibly just devote time and work on enhancement of that experience. We can do something like that. And then I can tell you how you can work with that. Some practices don't require a guide. If you have a good feel for that ecstatic experience. So if you have any ideas, if you come up with any ideas or desires or demands, like I want that, then just email me and we'll come up with what to do. Because we are entering, we studied practices that are not so individualistic. Now we are entering the territory of more individual practices. So workshops will be everybody will take different route in them. We can study the same technique, the same practice, but the feedback will be quite diverse. Last practice we did, I tried and still get automatic emotions. I haven't found the trigger for that. I sent you, I think, an email about the emotions. My thoughts were to study the what emotions there are. Is it something in general? Actually, do you feel some stress response when it happens? Do you feel irritated? Do you feel like aggression almost? Not stress, okay. Do you want to amplify those emotions when they happen? Do you want to sit with those emotions? Do you want to have higher intensity or longer duration of those emotions? Yes, in a way. Okay, so do you want higher intensity or longer experience? Do you want to capture that experience? Because remember, we also have practice hot and cold. No, Kiushka, take over. It's, I mean, everybody is interested. It's, you are, it's interesting to study the process. Imagine how interesting it is when somebody conducts a practice in real life and they have some interesting things happening to them. It's super interesting. So we have intensity and we have duration. Just realized I was the only one talking. Yeah, they went to sleep already, a lot of people. A lot of our talkative friends. Let's say emotion is, so we'll have, I'll draw here. Or will I draw? I get focused into conversations quickly. Nice. So emotions arise when you are in the warm or in your cold or in switching. Draw it properly. Both. Warm and cold and switching. Let's do now intensity of emotions from 0 to 10. 10 being like 0 being like no nothing. 1 being like funny joke, you know. 5 throughout the whole thing. Do they linger after you're done? Or do they fade away, or do they disappear immediately? Okay. So I drew step function. Was there any practice from that cycle where you felt higher intensity of emotion? Or every practice with switching gave you that at the same level? For example, we had sustained sympathetic nervous system activation when we did hot and cold, like strong stimulus. That one didn't do much extra. Not extra, okay. Is it emotion that's prevalent in your life? Or is it some emotion that you almost uniquely experience in this practice? Only experience in the practice. And it never started appearing after you've practiced that? It didn't become something that started happening in your life. What we're talking about the observations from the workshop. I conduct workshops for small groups every other Saturday. And Kiva is reporting on her observation. Hardly experience those emotions. Okay. Interesting. Is it emotion, or is it like, when you go on the roller coaster or you are sliding? No, Kiva. We finished the live stream portion for the most part. So please feel free to take the stage. So, you know how when you are on a slide, you're like, there is some ecstatic feeling. Is it similar to that? Or is it the feeling that's more like tears about to come out? Is it like tickle in the belly, or giggle, or I don't know what's happening? Is it what flavor this emotion has? Let me turn down the light a little bit. Both tickle and what is happening? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you are trying to block that emotion. Is it something that your body tries to resist? Or is it something that your body wants to embrace? No resistance. Is there a movement that would allow you to embody that emotion? More of embrace. Okay. Could you, for example, dance that emotion? Or like choreograph this emotion? Does your body know how to amplify it? How to like live through it fully? Like fully. Give into it fully. Like you know how a person can laugh like or a person can laugh like ha 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 ha. Full body ha ha ha. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing about the automatic feeling. Now there is reciprocity of emotions and physical responses. Our emotions are in effect physical responses to some stimuli. So emotions are reciprocal with physical symptoms. Emotions affect the whole body. So when you are doing it from within, when you are tuning your body to certain state, there might be some switching mechanism. Because imagine when a person is crying, there's a huge release. There's spastic breathing. There is intense swelling of nasal passages, of eyes. Water rushes in there. There's dilation of blood vessels. There is a huge activation, some relaxation in the pelvic floor. People who cry like completely, they can even like pee themselves. They enter this super release state that they almost lose control of their functions if the emotions overtakes them so much. So they are very strongly intertwined. Heartbeat changes, breathing pattern changes, different blood vessels dilate, some shrink, different organs start being more supplied. But if you were to, this is actually very interesting. It's cool. It's very my very own case study. Yeah, yes, I'm also excited. If there is more of embrace, I will repeat the question: is there a way you could embrace it even more? You could live through that emotion, release it fully. How far are you from like releasing this emotion? What is the release in that sense, you think? Like sadness is crying. Super strong excitement also maybe crying or laughing. Some like anger can be aggression, like roaring. Face blushing strongly. What is the highest amplitude of this emotion? How would that look? Trying to find the right words to explain. If you remember the emotion, you can try to get into your body and induce it and see what it does. What will your body do? Should I experiment more with figuring it out? Both emotions never change. It's always the same. Both. Which are two? Which are the two? What is their difference? Sadness, and I wouldn't say joy, but it's pleasant. Mm-hmm. So what my hypothesis around all of this, why I'm being so peculiar about it, and why I want to experiment with giving in to more of it. Perhaps you also can trick yourself. There is this practice of dive. In the dive, you will be sustained for a while in one of the states. And in the dive, it's not imperative that you are performing the dive meditation specifically in a certain way. You can use that same metaphor, activate your body in the same way, but then you can follow what your body has to offer. It's not necessary that you remain still. It's not necessary that you remain seated, laying down. You can actually with Hana, I think we did that. You can actually choreograph it. Why I am so adamant about enhancing it and finding the way to amplify it, release it, and live through it more completely. Because this can be something that your body craves in some way. And if you find that it is indeed a craving and your body has means to respond to that, it may show you some variants of perhaps working with your body, maybe working with certain, I don't know, certain like daily even things that you're doing in a way that connects you more with this spectrum of emotions. So you can try, enter meditation, then get up and do whatever your body wants, whatever it is. And then through your body, you will come to feeling of yourself that has potentially very high resource. Something very enriching. And perhaps if there is something in your mind that's like, for example, something is stuck, something is bothersome, or some solution doesn't come through, maybe that will be the tool for that. What if? Because you will access the state of yourself for whom, this is not a problem, for whom life experience is brightened up. That's why it's interesting to embrace that. Especially why I'm also emphasizing that. Not everyone will exhibit such a strong attraction to this idea of that I have emotions, these emotions, I want to understand these emotions. What is it about? Hello? What is this about? Not everyone will be dissecting them. Not everyone will be so like bothered by that. And since you have such a magnetism to that theme, it's likely that this is where some treasure sits. Worth of experimenting. I encourage you to be absolutely creative, absolutely free with these meditations. Use them like a misbehaved child. You're given the meditation. I can do a voice for you. I can record one and send you the raw file. Conduct this meditation and see all what ifs. What if right now, what if I feel cool, for example, this coolness? What if I jump? What if I don't know, start like hitting the air? Whatever comes to your body, whatever ideas are sparked. What if I pinch myself during anything? What if I start making faces? Give in to any idea that comes to your mind. Too curious we cannot be too curious, but there is curiosity can be geared towards different directions. I think since the last workshop I've been experimenting with even past practices too. That's cool. Experimenting, I'm so curious too right now. I really look forward to discussing it the upcoming Saturday. So, this is my hypothesis and suggestion. I think we're onto something there. Some bit of freedom, maybe, some bit of energy, some bit of interesting thing in a nutshell. You can also, by the way, combine, when you get comfortable with all of these, you can combine like warm and cool with focus, defocus, all that stuff. Yes, Kivishka? I wish I could go to workshop, but what would prevent you from it? Broski digs. Just send me an email and you are in. There's no barrier to entry other than your will expressed via email. Is this automatic thing common? You see, not everyone, people do experience different tickles, different, oh, what an interesting sensation. Not everyone emphasizes the greed for emotional component of that. People have different focal points. That's why I'm saying also, since your curiosity brought you specifically there, let's dig there. Let's make it a tool. Let's make it a path for exploring something fun. Because again, people do experience different tickles. People do experience different things. But not everyone is so deeply connected with this specific part of it. For a lot of people, experiencing such thrill is just, wow, thrill. fun. For some people, they are bothered by performance. They will be like, oh, I feel this, but I don't feel this. Oh, I don't feel any special effects. Oh, now I feel. In this practice, this doesn't work. You know? Past days just been a bunch of curiosity and thinking overload. Do have Kiva, do have full body breathing, because that can help with thinking. I guess much. Make it an equation, Brodsky digs. To sum it up. Nobody got time. Thank you, good. How are you? I've been vibing and having an amazing week. Wonderful. Kiva, I told you I have 28 practices. 28. But then I had 28 and I was like, no, it's not it. So I will be a microphone girl. So we'll be skipping some streams probably because again, nighttime is valuable for me because it's the only time of silence. But soon we'll resume my regular schedule. I believe we do have full body breathing. So do that when you have specially overloaded things. And if you have too many thoughts, piece of paper always works. At least partially. My name is Ella. Nice to meet you, Gnobly Got Time. Good sending you love from the UK. Wonderful. Nice to meet you. I hope experimenting with multiple practices is safe. Yes, they are designed to be. I will even. Practices are combinable. Full body breathing is universal practice. You can perform it 5 days a week, but just to keep the hygiene of having days off of any practice. It's 5 days a week. It's combinable with any practice in Tantra. So the main thing to keep in mind is to not overdo them. To the point that overdoing, the criterion of overdoing is that you start being anxious, you start being too burdened by them, or you start feeling aversion to them. This is when you know you overdid it. Is workshop in Zoom? Yes, it is in Zoom. I have been here before. It's just been a while. Nobody got time. I recognize your hand though. Thank you for joining back. I also took some time off. And I'm back. Okay, I need to make sure I don't get overly passionate with such curiosity. It's good to balance it out. Yes, it's good to balance it out, and it's good to introduce relaxation practice, which is full body breathing. Full body breathing is a very pleasure-bearing thing, very restful, very relaxing, diffuses your perception of self, such that your thoughts are not just concentrated somewhere on the internal screen. So your brain will be busy feeling your body. Might be too late, no. So with the cool, warm, do experiments, but it's safe to do though, probably. Let me see my protocol. 3 times a week we do those flipping states. Then focus, defocus can be done 3 times a week. And then we have breathing practices that can be done on demand. Also still excited about having my own case study. It's just awesome. Yes, it is. I love it. What is the topic today, Anastasia? Um, Ella. Our topic today was continuing the previous live stream, which was over a week ago, but we were talking about relationship crisis, and I decided to finish this theme up with infidelity. So we did the outlook on infidelity, and then we also were covering a lot of case studies, a lot of questions from the audience, and now we are discussing the aftermath of workshops that we conduct on every other Saturday, where we try practices. So Kiva, uh, along with other participants, got to experience the practice sensations in the body. It's a very extensive set of practices that are training a lot of the skills that are no, it's a really rich system of practices that are training your nervous system to switch, that are training nervous system to enter deep relaxation and deeper excited states, such that you can have much better responsivity to stimuli, more adequate responsivity, and then also for sexual life, how to regulate your body in a way that it's capable of sustaining peak states without shut off, without this protective shut off, and how to relax deeply. So we're training different properties of nervous system and our body responses, connecting it with the body. And so those practices we experimented in 2 workshops already. And there is a matrix of 28 practices that I calculated of different complexities. So Kiva had this interesting response in her body that those somatic, seemingly somatic exercises, look how they're combination. We can't even divide mind and body necessarily, but triggering certain states that activate nervous system in different ways. In Kiva resulted in emotions that have been some point of high curiosity. Because why the hell I am here just inducing, activating, and relaxing my body in certain sequence. Suddenly my mind responds with some emotions, feelings that are unrelated to the content of this meditation. There is one variant of this meditation in which we are uh, experiencing joy, happiness through our body, and then sadness. So we're oscillating between these states, but it's only a fraction. The interesting thing is that in Kiva's case, emotions happen even when we work with polarities of warm and cool. For instance, imagine your body responding to sensation of warmth, how it soft and relaxes, and then how your body responds to the sensation of coolness, like you go into the cool water. So we do these things in different patterns, in different switching patterns, and Kiva has strong emotional response to that. Why? So we're trying to understand how we can work with that reaction. Well, it's not me. Let's not drag you on this case study now, friend. Thank you so much, my dear. Much appreciated. Interesting how it started since the first workshop, and it's still the same since throughout the rest. Kiva, let's discuss what's your action plan. Basically, question. Also interesting how randomly appeared both teams. Nobody got time, by the way. If you want to participate in the next workshop, send me an email. It's free. Well, that's the thing. I don't know my plan now. Okay. So what I would suggest, try the introduce full body breathing on a regular, and then go into the very simple variant of the practice that gives you those responses. And instead of just observing those emotions that arise, when they are strong enough for you to be able to kind of ride them, see what your body really wants to do. Embody that. Just allow yourself anything, what you want to do in that moment, how you want to live through this emotion more fully. That would be my playground. Nobody got time. I was playing video games and I randomly decided to go on YouTube, and here was live on the top of my feed. Nice. And full body breathing is the most neutral practice for Tantra. It's basically, I think it's like yoga nidra, this deeply relaxing thing. I was thinking, since I can't control them, I might as well embrace them and see what happens. Mm-hmm. You also have a lot of really good information here. I'm glad nobody got time. Feel free if you have any case studies, questions, concerns. Send me an email and we can figure it out on the next live stream. So, Kiva, wonderful. I'm excited. I'm excited because, yeah, it's really curious what you'll find out. You effectively created a controlled domain for these emotions to exist. That's how we can view it as well. His next workshop Saturday. Yes. I feel like, what's it now? It's Wednesday, which is fake Wednesday. It's still Tuesday for me. So I should be ready by now, by then. Sure, Broskidix, just email me, you know what to do. Probably fifth time saying this, but just, yeah, I have a case study. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I was waiting for this day, Kiva, to be honest. Because you're a master student. And I'm so happy that you started practicing, and now there is some interesting, cool thing that caught your curiosity so much, you know? Thanks. So that makes me beginner student. And what's so bad about that? Everybody's a beginner in something. Well, work for the summers. I have a lot of free time. Nobody got time. Cool. All right, master student, magistrantka. Mm-hmm. So nobody got time. Yes, I know. Sign in for the workshop. Workshop will be, if you're in the UK, probably will be 8 p.m. Was the same time zone with Hippocrates. 7 or 8 p.m. it will be for you on Saturday, if that works. Roskilde is in North Carolina, so for you it will be 2 p.m. And everybody, by the way, Broski Diggs and Ella, if you are going to join the next workshop, I want you to feel totally like free and at peace for Wayne, hello. I want you to feel totally at peace and comfort with not having had any experience with that. And don't feel like you're behind on anything and something. So if you join, it's all for you. You ask questions, you are experiencing things, you're trying things out. It's meant for pleasure. Again, this is the school of thought is pleasure forward. So it's not for uh, surpass, exceed, achieve. It is to learn about more about your body, to learn more about how your mind and body work together. So it is more exploratory work, and I'm going to give you suggestions. We're still on pretty base practices of Tantra. I'm going to be giving you more approachable, more generalized practices there. And so it's all for you. Mindset is to not just be like, knock, 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 I'm late for the class. No, let's do the mindset that curious stuff. Let's see what it's about. Let's try it out. Okay? So there's no pressure, even though you haven't attended that or you joined live streams not in the very beginning. I think you've got the gist, and I try to design my workshops such that they are understandable. So, watch the stream and take notes to map everything out. I'm actually glad I was able to be more active in chat this time since I'm actually busy. It's amazing. It's very cool. I'm very intrigued by that issue. Not issue, observation. Observation. One finger. Issue, observation. And send words early was two. Two was great. It feels like, yeah, we had whole new chapter afterwards. Which is amazing. So, guys, my email, info, you will see, I'm not gonna dictate it because I don't know if it's, let me see, no, I don't have that screenshot either, oh my god. So, my email is on my channel, info@rawformoflife.com. If you can't find me on my email, you can find me on my Instagram, message me on Instagram, but I prefer email. Only message me on Instagram if you can't find my email. In the email, if you want to participate in the workshop, you're writing your YouTube handle, express your will to participate in the workshop. If you feel like I need to know something about you, like you have some story that you want to share, you have some specific needs that I need to be aware of, you are writing them as well in the email. If you have case studies, write me case studies. So when you put workshop in the topic, I know that I'm sending you invitation for the next upcoming one. And yeah, all questions, concerns. Instagram, I'm not that active there. I might resume eventually. But better follow my AF Wonderlander Instagram, where I post my clothes. I'm more active there probably. So, email me. And Kiva, if you have any questions, discoveries, email. And yeah, so this week I'm gonna be less active with streaming. So I will try to push through as much as I can through the project that I'm working on because it's essential. But the moment I feel like I can go live, I will see you here. But no promises for this upcoming week, for this current week. And then workshop we will conduct. Okay? We'll let you know, madam, if any updates I discover. Yes. And guys, Browski Diggs and Ella, if you have any things that come to your mind, email me as well. Good luck with your workshops and projects. Hope you have good challenges and great rewards. Scrolling scribe. Thank you so much. It's okay, I'm entertained 24/7. Nice. You just walk out of my life like that. It's almost midnight here, I have to go now, but I will in touch. I enjoyed you as always, love. It's almost 1 a.m., so we're 1 hour away from each other. Then it will be 7 p.m. your time. Okay? Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Kibushka, celebrating your first case study. Wonderful news. Thank you for your gifts. Thank you for your kind words. And it was an amazing, amazing stream. I love your discovery so much. They will be a little bit in my mind. And now you know I will also do this practice and I'll probably try to experiment what I feel. It gave me some experimental curiosity as well. I'm happy to have master student to-do list. Yup. Now, madam, you don't have to think. Take care, my draga. Thank you. Now we got time. Braski dig. Everyone, I'll see you in the workshop. I'll see you in my email. Bye-bye.